So down here, this resistor, or this cap, excuse me, went there. It went from there, or there, that's a bridge there, or to into this little mess. And this may not be such a pickle, but this side is. This is going to be interesting because when they do these, they just push that in there. And then solder them. We don't have that luxury anymore. I'm trying to clean up that mess a little bit. Good luck. This radio is pretty clean. Well, this side is pretty crowded. It's got 4 resistors, which I can't read the value of. And well, since we didn't buy any dikes or side cutters, but I did get in a box. There's an old pair of scissors. Now, not the greatest idea, but hey, we're in the middle of the week now, and there aren't too many yard sales to be had. And these are, you can actually get these. These are an off-the-shelf item at the dollar store. They're $1. So now we're up to a good solid 25 bucks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this resistor up next to the body. I was thinking about doing that. That is not going to work. Oh, well, apparently that has a steel lead. Well, I'm not going to break that, so I guess I'm just going to leave it there until it comes. Well, I could unsolder it and get it out of the way. It was kind of a goofy repair. Yeah. What somebody has done, you can see that right there. They clipped that old capacitor out and just, hooked it. And we're going to try and get in there and knock that baby loose. Okay, no, that wasn't too bad. That just does the same thing I was trying to do. Okay, we're ahead. Somebody put some. Okay. So we need to go from here to there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up. And I'm going to push this wire through. See, the bad thing about these is the minute you get done soldering them, the holes fill back up, and I don't have any. I didn't get a hold of anything at the garage sales that would desolder something like that. And actually, that might be pretty tough. One thing that might work is if you had a little air compressor. It'd be pretty messy. You could try using a solder pult or solder wick. I don't think it would work very well. You could try heating that with maybe a soldering gun to get it good and warm, and then take a blast of air from a little air compressor, and it might blow the solder out. Now you want to make sure you're not, make sure you got your safety glasses on. And make sure your little sister isn't behind you. And we will. Well, now that I got this up, I'm gonna clean that resistor a little bit. One of these looks like it's like brown, green, brown. And this is we talked about that before. There were 8 pins here. They're using this all on a tie point. So I bet $1. Let me do a little looking here. This is ground, or B minus. It runs from here over to here to here. Yeah, this is the B minus, so this is the ground. So this is kind of good to know. Comes time to do some voltage testing, we'll know where it's at. Okay. So let's see here. I want about that much to poke through. So that's centered up pretty good. I'll kind of mark that. Okay. What I did there was I just kind of marked this with that little black band. That's how far I wanted to shove that down in there before we. Now, if I'm lucky, what little bit of solder is left will kind of disappear, and maybe that'll clean that hole out. And I'll get you back up here. So, where are we at? This is rather annoying. It's also good to know, you know, actually, that's good to know. That point is ground. So I'm going to make the ground symbol on the top here. That'd be a good place to hook a clip lead. And we're going to try and snake that wire back through there. Any day now. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. Now, there's nothing else, I hope, that needs to come off of there, so I'm going to go ahead and touch that up. And I just fed a little solder in there. And we're going to use the janky scissors I got a hold of. And these things, the reason they were free is they don't do doodly. Well, I did nick them. I did nick that wire, so we could do this. Yeah, you have to break down. You could go to the dollar tool store and buy some side cutters for $1. Let's hope this project takes longer than a week. Maybe I'll luck out and find another yard sale. You know, one of those estate sales did go till today, and I do remember seeing a bunch of janky looking tools there. I suppose I could wander over there. Okay. This is going to be a little more annoying. What I'm going to have to do is bend this and kind of loop this down and get a rough idea where I want to put that. Looks like about in there. I'm kind of curving this a little bit. And what we're going to do is I'll just thread it back in there. When I shove it down, hopefully I can get it to come through, and then I'll grab it with the needle nose and pull it, and it'll suck it on down. I had hoped to make the markings up on the top. That didn't work out. Okay, I give in. We'll back up here a little bit. So I'm going to fix my mistake and rotate that about 90 degrees. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to have to rotate this about 90 degrees. And we're going to thread that back through the hole. And the cameraman's not getting paid very well today, so he's not on the ball. And remember, that was this pin here. So I'm going to take the needle nose and shove that through. This all seems very fiddly. It is. I mean, you know, like I said, if you were doing this in a shop, you probably wouldn't use this technique. Probably, unless you're really a fuss pot. That actually worked pretty good. Wow, that, I shoved that in from the top, and that came out pretty damn good. Okay. So, to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing else on that pin I'm going to solder. So I'm going to go ahead and feed a little bit of solder in there. You could feed it through the back too. Okay. So I'm going to nick that with these stupid scissors that won't do anything. And like, this is the advantage of solid wire. You flex it enough, it'll break. Okay. Wishing I'd shopped around some more. So we'll get one down. And there it is. So if I had to guess, in our blobby schematic that nobody can read, it's probably this cap here. This cap, let's see, there's a resistor to the other side of ground. It goes from, this is the detector tube, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to a resistor to ground. Might be here on the, maybe this might be it. What's that value? I guess it doesn't matter. This is 0.05, which is 0.47. That's interesting. Well, that's just the way it got replaced. Okay. So, what can we do about that? How many wires are tucked into that hole? Oh, there's only 2 in there. That's not too bad. This is kind of interesting. I got these caps. These are 0.047 at like 600 volts, 630 volts. I got these really at a super cheap deal. I think I paid $0.10 a piece for these, and I got quite a few. They're pre-formed, so nobody wants them. But all you got to do is just kind of bend the leads back. It's people are real strange about stuff like that. Sometimes you can find surplus components that were going to be put into manufacturing. Now, granted, I'm not sure what you're going to do with 1001K resistors, but if they're a penny a piece, it might behoove you to buy them, and maybe you could trade them to your friends or take them to your take them to the table at the flea market, the ham flea market. Sometimes buying in quantity. Now, a value like that, actually, I bought, don't tell anybody, I bought 10,000 of these, and I've been selling them and using them and getting rid of them, and I'm actually getting down to a reasonable amount. I bought those several years ago. And I think if you go buy a single one, I think there are 30, 60 cents, I don't know. Luckily it was a common value. Well, so this one here, actually both of these could be plucked out of there. And that one there. That was easy enough. I just plucked that out. And somebody put some spaghetti over that one. Do we need to do such a thing? Not really. That baby's pretty small. Just kind of forming these leads to get an idea where to go here. And I can probably cut at least a third of that off. Okay, now it's less I have to try and fight with at the other end. So that's pretty close. Okay, so let's see if we can pull those leads out of there. And we'll get out the old pencil. Looks like one of them might be there. And the other one's on the other side. Let's see here. So that's pin 1, 8, 7. See, 1, 8, 7. So it's right there. So there are 2 across from there. And clean up the old solder a little bit. Maybe needs to be not tinned, but what do I want to say? File down. Be careful when you get to filing on these soldering iron tips. The new ones nowadays have plating on them. If you go through that plating, your tip will pretty much self-destruct. It won't blow up. It'll just wear out real quick. That one is really in there. Well, it's possible I didn't heat it all the way. There we go. How about that? Normally you get to doing this stuff and you just do it, and you got company by, you get distracted. Okay. So we'll tuck that lead of that cap back in there. It's just not super hot enough to do this. It's okay if you're not in a hurry. Okay, so let's see if we get that other side out. Let's see here. I'll be back in a tick. Okay. I was just thinking out loud there myself. I don't know what that cap that was in there was .05. But I was thinking to myself, that's a replacement cap, and somebody could have done something like I might have done, which is they could have replaced it with something they just had floating around. So it may not be .05. Well, it apparently must have worked okay. I was kind of looking at the tube manual there. That's pin 7 of the audio output tube, which is the plate. It looks like that kind of goes toward ground. It's probably a little tone control. The other thing that goes to that pin was the blue side of the output transformer, which brings the B plus to that plate. So I'm guessing that's just a little tone control. Does that make sense? And we'll stick that back back in there. Okay. This just isn't conducive to camera work. It's kind of an annoying little wheel. I'm actually, you can't see this, but I'm kind of giving the camera a little hug here. Okay. And we'll heat this one up and suck it back down. Okay, let's look and see how we did. It's not bad. It could be over here. And the value's up where I can see it, which is what I wanted. I would bet $1 from that probably is a .02. That's typically they put that from the plate to ground. That's definitely a good cap to replace. And if you remember our other schematic, I believe it was .02 on that other GE. It's a little tone control, kind of takes some of the highs out of the radio a little bit. You can leave it out. It also clips the noise off a little bit, so that's why it's there. Well, so we're feeling a little better now. Oh, molded cap, useless garbage. And just for fun, I'll test it in the cap meter. It's probably bad. So some no-name brand I never heard of. Oh, no, I take that back. Yeah, it's some no-name brand I never heard of. Cornell Dubler. Who ever heard of them? See, on this one it's got a band, which was the shield, which is typically the low side. It's just junk. It's all wet, gooey, and... Okay, well... So, once again, since I didn't get any side cutters, I'm just kind of... I know, it would be so easy to go down into the basement and just get some, but you know what, I promised. These were part of the rules of the game. And sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and that's okay, you know? This might be what happens in the real world if you don't have a lot of cash. Or you're trying to do this on a budget, or you've only got, after you bought food, water, and shelter, and porno magazines. Oh, no. That probably wasn't very nice. But you did buy food and water and shelter, paid your bills. You may only have a few dollars left to... you may only have a couple bucks left to pursue a hobby. And for those of us that can enjoy this without scraping by, it's always good to know where you came from. And there's plenty of folks that don't have a lot of high-paying jobs for whatever reason. Because that's all they could get because of whatever. So, you know what? We'll just prove that you can do this on a budget. Yep. So, well, I say we're about ready to plug this in. I'll get out the old dim bulb tester. And, well, that's annoying. One of our little clips broke off, our little lugs. Oh, goody. Well, if I'm really lucky, that fell on the ground. Well, there's a cap. Well, that's just ducky. Well, I guess one of the good things is that this floor is probably pretty conducive. Well, if I'm lucky, maybe it fell onto the table. Under the solder, no. don't remember hearing anything hit the street here. Okay, well I'm going to put you away for a little bit. We'll be back.